There are Irish exits, and then there are Elon exits, where you leave with Stephen Little Bitch Miller's wife, and you expect no one to notice or care. So when Katie Miller announced her 4th pregnancy on New Year's Eve at Mar-a-Lago, the internet did some quick cowgirl math. She left the Trump administration to work for Elon Musk in early 2025. 9 months later, baby announcement, and suddenly everyone on the internet is asking the same question. Did Stephen Miller just get cucked? And look, the chances are slim, but they're never zero. The fact that we're even here, that this is even a conversation that's happening in the public is just, the timeline seems to just add up well enough to make people pause. This is how we got from a routine Washington job change to thousands of people flooding Katie Miller's pregnancy announcement with rocket ship emojis and extremely pointed questions about paternity, especially after this timeline, which we're about to get into. But real quick, I'm Lauren Paritra, and I really need to maintain my lead on Katie Miller and subscriber count because I didn't even have to ruin everyone's life with my podcast. So please subscribe, hit that notifications bell, turn notifications on. I can't let the wife of Stephen Little Bitch Miller get ahead of me on this. Okay, back to it. So I'm gonna get into the detailed timeline, but first I need you to watch this clip.
Who do you look up to the most?
The Creator.
What's your current position on God?
God is the Creator.
You don't believe in God, though, do you?
Well, I believe this universe came from something. People have different labels.
I'm sorry, what? What is your position on God? Katie, you're married. You're a married woman, and you're interviewing your boss. This is not a first date at a coffee shop. You don't need to know his thoughts on the divine creator unless you're trying to figure out your potential children and what belief system they'd be raised with. Stephen Little Bitch Miller watched this, and I mean, look at that body language. She's practically doodling Mrs. Katie Musk in her notebook. The internet didn't create this conspiracy theory out of nowhere. After Trump won in 2024, Elon Musk weaseled his way in to lead the completely made up Department of Government Efficiency. In case you blacked out all of that, the acronym was DOGE. And this is a man who named his child after a fighter jet and a string of keyboard symbols. His job was basically to come in, fire people, do a bunch of ketamine, cut critical departments, sleep in a bag, and make the government run like a bro-y Silicon Valley startup, which works great until you remember that the US government is supposed to serve the people. Musk ran Doge like every Y Combinator bro runs their first startup, convinced that they know everything, hostile to anyone who's actually done the job before, and mysteriously missing in action when it's time to show results. So at least when Y Combinators fail, they don't take down the Department of Education with them. Musk hired Katie Miller in May 2025 while she was deep in the Trump administration doing communications work like she's done for years. Some may even say she was real deep in the work. Previously, she served as secretary to Mike Pence, and she worked in the Department of Homeland Security during Trump's first term. She was married to Stephen Little Bitch Miller then, the guy who spent his whole career concerned about who comes into America and what they're doing once they get here. At this point, we're on separate tracks. Musk doing Musk things, Katie did political operative things, and Stephen calculated all the deportation statistics. Everything was normal by Washington's deeply abnormal standards, but Musk's government stint was always temporary, even fleeting, if you will. The advisory role was never supposed to be permanent. He was there to make some noise, distract from the Epstein files, argue with Scott Bassett, and then leave before anyone measured the results. So when Musk wrapped up his Doge adventure, nobody was shocked. The boys had been fighting, and they were very much giving divorce dad energy. What was noteworthy, however, was that Katie Miller would be joining him, leaving the Trump administration, following Musk right out that musky door, and taking her very fertile uterus with her. People change jobs every day. Washington runs on like some revolving door shit. But Katie Miller leaving to work for Elon Musk was interesting because her husband, again, is Stephen Little Bitch Miller, white nationalist, potbelly Dracula. And yet this happened smoothly. Stephen Miller, the separating families at the anywhere they can, pale guy, just stood there as his wife walked out for a billionaire with 12 kids and counting. He really, truly does love family separation. The optics were perfect. Katie Miller had special government employee status and was appointed to the president's intelligence advisory board in February. She left the White House in June to work full-time for Musk after Musk had a very public falling out, a little breakup with the president. Musk unfollowed at that time both Millers on Twitter and X, and Miller continued to work for Musk until August when she left to start her own awful, terrible podcast called The Katie Miller Show, where she clutches onto cue cards with her name on them. And then she announced a pregnancy on New Year's Eve, which prompted speculation on Reddit about the timeline of her departure from Musk's employment. The Lincoln Project's Reed Galen also commented on her announcement. Musk, absorbing a high level of aid from one of the administration's most recognizable households, felt less like a surprise and more like the most Elon thing that could possibly happen. For several months after, this was just a thing that happened. Katie worked for Musk. Stephen Little Bitch Miller kept doing Stephen Little Bitch Miller things. Musk just continued on shit posting at 3 a.m. The internet mostly behaved itself. But like the sea, the internet was gathering its strength. Whispers started circulating about Musk's approach to procreation.
Well, there's a lot of things that I suppose that I worry about, but and some of these things will seem esoteric to people. The birth rate is very low in almost every country, and it's something, unless that changes, civilization will disappear. America had the lowest birth rate, I believe, ever. That was last year. Places like Korea, the birth rate is 1/3 replacement rate. So that means in 3 generations, Korea will be 3 or 4% of its current size. And nothing seems to be turning that around. Humanity is dying. And people, it's just not something we evolved to react to. And I worry generally about the strength of America. America is the central column that holds up all of Western civilization. So if you've got the temple of Western civilization, America is the central column. If that column fails, it's all over. You can't run off to New Zealand or some other place. It's over. So either we strengthen that column and make sure America is strong and will be strong for a long time, or that roof's coming down.
So Musk has been vocal about declining birth rates. He's also has 12 children, and we've acknowledged that, but the rumors are different now. They're much more specific, and the allegations, while never proven or substantiated, Musk was offering his genetic material to employees and associates as some kind of Silicon Valley fertility program, like a company perk, except instead of stock options, you get, was there evidence? No. Did that stop the internet? Absolutely not. People started side-eyeing every pregnancy announcement from anyone connected to Musk's orbit. Enter Katie Miller. On December 31st, again, Katie Miller just announced her pregnancy with her 4th child at Mar-a-Lago. The kind of content that usually gets maybe like a congratulations when you're not birthing the spawn of Dracula or a Nazi, or both in this case. Both could apply. Instead, her announcement was immediately hijacked by people asking whether Elon Musk was involved. Rocket ship emojis, knowing winks, former boss references. This is what happens when you get a little too friendly with your billionaire boss who's obsessed with breeding programs. The logic: Katie works for Musk. Musk allegedly offers genetic material to his employees. Katie pregnant 9 months later. Makes sense for a little eyebrow raise. Never mind that she's married to Stephen Little Bitch Miller with 3 kids already. Trump's administration, and she left that Trump administration to work for Musk in early 2025. The pregnancy came about 9 months later. Doesn't necessarily prove anything, but doesn't not prove anything. This is the exact amount of time it usually takes to make a human, yes. The narrative symmetry was perfect. Stephen Miller, Mr. Demographics, potentially cucked by a tech billionaire, with eugenics news outlets picking it up. The Daily Beast ran a piece about how Katie's announcement had given new life to Musk rumors. Other outlets followed, carefully not making accusations while making sure readers understood what they weren't saying. Here's what makes this all hilarious. Elon Musk became the suspected father of every baby born within a 5-mile radius of anyone who's worked for him. Katie Miller, a communications professional who knows how the internet works, learned that no pregnancy announcement goes unpunished. Stephen Little Bitch Miller is watching his wife's pregnancy become subject to the exact speculation his policies breed. Look, if karma had a sense of humor, it would look exactly like this. Stephen Little Bitch Miller, mayonnaise man, drunk off of the thrill of other people's families being his business, separating parents from children, obsessing over who gets to reproduce where. Now the internet is obsessing over his wife's reproductive choices, and he gets to experience what it feels like when a spectacle they cannot control comes into play, which feels very much like poetic justice for a man who wrote the policy that gave way for ripping children away from their parents at school pickup and then pepper spraying all of them. Katie, meanwhile, helped craft the message for all of it. Katie, who helped write the playbook on invasive government overreach and attacking families, and now strangers on Reddit are speculating about hers. You really do reap what you sow. The universe has a special sense of humor after all. So if you're done watching grifters get rewarded for professional victimhood while Katie Miller launches her podcast trying to rebrand herself post Elon employment drama, subscribe. Hit that notifications bell. We cannot do this without you. Share this with somebody who needs to hear it, because Katie's out here trying to build an audience on white supremacy, and we cannot let this bankrolled idiot married to the man who helped architect family separation policies outpace us on YouTube.